It's the moment you've been waiting for. It's a conversation that must be had today and not tomorrow. Welcome to another episode of I'm Listening, I'm Ready with your host, ANDREWEGY. Let's talk about it.
How do we move HR teams from the 2020 survival mode into the thrive mindset and set up for corporate team diversity success? How do we move them from surviving to a thrive mindset?
It's the moment you've been waiting for. It's a conversation that must be had today and not tomorrow. Welcome to another episode of I'm Listening, I'm Ready with your host, ANDREWEGY. Let's talk about it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, ANDREWEGY here. Welcome to another episode of the ILIR-PODCAST. Guess what? It is the podcast that's dedicated for those who are on the go. Whether you're traveling by land, air, or sea, it is me, ANDREWEGY, in the MORNING. I am too excited about what's going on today. My guest, she is disrupting the HR industry forever. That's right. And if you thought you were comfortable in 2020, 2021, I'm telling you, she is going to flip your wig. Your chair, your corner office is not going to be the same anymore. Who is this young lady? I know, calm down. Let me tell you who she is, all right? Tiffany Castagno. She is the co-host of Let's Talk HR Clubhouse, and she is disrupting. She's cultivating. She's evolutionizing the entire HR industry. I'm going to give you a little bit more about who she is. Tiffany Castagno is the CEO of CEPHR, as in CEPHR. That's right, the CEPHR LLC, a human resource consultant firm that supports small and mid-sized businesses in building out their programs, processes, policies, and infrastructure, and a strong employee brand and culture. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be waste any more time. Please help me welcome to the show Miss Tiffany. Tiffany, please say hi to the people.
Hello to the people. And wow, what a warm, wonderful welcome. Thank you, Andrew, for rolling out the red carpet and the white glove treatment.
I heard that, girl. I heard that.
Well, thanks for having me.
I am so glad you're here. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed. We are here on this wonderful day, and yes. I am here my health and safety and loving what I do. So here we are, and I'm grateful for you too now.
I'm glad to be around good people. You know what? You realize it's not even about you, but when you're around people that bring out the best in you. And that's kind of what I've been focusing for this year. Because when I go and I do talks and stuff like that, and people say, where you get this energy? I say, it's in a bottle. One day I'm going to just sell it, right? I said, no, I get excited when I'm around people because I love people. Because what would the world be if we didn't have people? And so this is it for me. I know I'm in the right place. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm loving people and I'm helping them to bring out the best in them and showing the world, did you know this person? You need to get to know. So that's kind of what's happening.
Love it. I love it. We are like-hearted people, Andrew.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Tiffany, we got quite a bit to deal with today. A lot to talk about because HR is almost flipped upside down. COVID came and everyone just kind of just lost their mind. Like, what do we do? I was speaking with a gentleman, New York Times bestselling author, David Burkus. I'm not sure if you know him. And they call him the Bruce Wayne of business leadership. He's the Batman. So I was interviewing him. I say, hey, Batman is in the house. So you got a black man, you got Batman in the house. He almost flipped it.
Yes, that's so amazing.
So we got a Batman, we got black man up in the house. Now what? And he was so funny though. And we're talking about his new book. Managing from anywhere. So he's saying it's about that remote. How do you deal with the people that's been in the office for 10, 15 years? And now they're home for, let's say, 6, 7, 18 months. How are you going to get them back? Get their mindset back on the job so they can be more productive. And it's a powerful book that's coming out. So that's David Burkus. Yeah, he's pretty good. It's pretty good in what he's been doing. But Tiffany, today is yours. I want to know what you're up to, what you've been up to. I want to learn more about the clubhouse. I want to understand how people can come inside the clubhouse. Wasn't there a Mickey's Fun House? Wasn't there a cartoon like that?
Yeah, I think so. Clubhouse, Mickey's Clubhouse. Yes.
That's right. I know that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell everybody go check out the Clubhouse, and she's gonna tell you a little bit more about the Clubhouse. No, Tiffany, right off the top, right? Can you just tell the people a little bit about you and what you do? I know I was too hyper and stuff like that, but that's how I roll, right? I
Oh
want
my
you to tell the
gosh.
people, just tell them a little bit about you, Tiffany, and what you do.
Oh, all right. Let's tackle the energy first, because the two of us are a lot of energy in one space, but I love it. I love it. I am very energy focused. So I'll start there. I love to just gravitate towards people. And I believe the Lord pulls me towards the people like you who can help elevate voices, who he can use me through him to do good work. And that's why I love what I do. I'm in the people business. It really just, I have always had this calling to do more, to support more people, to help people see their potential, to let their voices be heard. My voice has not always been heard, and I don't want that for other people. So yes, I am a disruptor. I will come in and shake things up, but only if you let me, because that's when we're a match. That's when clients and I are a match, when they're ready to take their culture to the next level, when they're ready to build that infrastructure to scale. That's where I come in. And so I really have a blast with that. But certain energies, I'm very energy focused. I'm an empath. And so I have to balance what that looks like in life and business, because I have been taken advantage of for my kindness. People perceive me in other ways when I do have to be direct. And so there's all that, but I'm a giver. I have a giver's heart, and I'm here to play, and I'm here to stay, Andrew.
Awesome. I love it. Now, I like what you're saying, that sometimes people take advantage of your kindness, and my hands up in the room. And even at the start of this year, I started kind of analyzing, okay, fine, it's good to give. Yes, it's a blessing to give. But how do we put where do we put the boundaries? You know what I mean? How do we kind of regulate, when we are actually giving too much of ourselves, and which part of ourselves do we reserve for that self-care part of us, so we can be, I guess, renewed. So when the opportunity comes again for us to serve, we're in place, because we can't just serve everything out and then our tank is empty and we say, Lord, fill us up again. Right. So how do you how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
So that's, I've had to learn that the hard way. It's been a bumpy road along the way to learning that. When you are wired the way I am, I'm an active listener, and people gravitate towards my energy because of the energy that I put forth in doing the Lord's work. But it's also something that you do. We can't give if we don't get. So some people are just takers. You have to balance giving. I would give everything away if I could. And I get that from my dad, who was such a giver. But it's so important to refill your tank, whether that's reading, meditating, praying, listening to great music, being around loved ones, whatever it is that fills that tank for you. You have to have that balance and that peace, because it will erode you, and then you're not as energized, and you're not as excited about it. And then you said at the beginning, I think, if you're not growing, you're slowing. If you're not growing, you're dying. And my phrase is, if you're not growing, you're slowing. We have to always embrace a growth mindset, and that means for self as well. You can't just give it all away. You got to balance it out.
And when you talk about growth mindset, I've read this book before by Carol Dweck, and I'm going to recommend that book. It's an amazing book, okay? She's a Stanford professor, and she was just talking about how we have to want to fail, and she talks about, for children, said it's okay if they fail. Don't give them the answer to everything. Let them understand, let them hit that rock bottom and get up so they can grow, because it's the getting up part in life where growth happens. And I am really fascinated by this one quote that Nelson Mandela said. He said, it's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up. So living is, do you hear what I'm saying? Living is in the getting up part. Anybody can lay down and say, hey, I'm going to die, and get a clock and say, hey, I'm in retirement. But real living, ladies and gentlemen, is in the getting up part. And myself and Tiffany is here to help you to understand. She's coming from an HR perspective. I am doing work-life enrichment. So I'm always out there speaking to corporations and trying to help them to understand it's not even about the balance, Tiffany. And I want to talk about that for a little bit. Now, when I go in, they said, hey, that's the work-life balance guy. I said, my last name is Guy, but I'm not coming to help you teeter-totter or throw balls up in the air, because that's a balancing act. And when we talk about enrichment and integration versus the balancing act, you're going to have to choose, Tiffany. And a lot of people are choosing between that corporate life and that quality home life, and their kids are going here, and then they don't recognize it until, yeah, the business is successful. It's like you gained the world, but lost your soul in the home. And so it's too late. And I'm dealing with those kind of clients say, how do I balance? I say, you don't need balance. You need enrichment and integration. So when you enrich yourself, you will show up at work 100%. And we're going to talk about that, how my little system that I use to work towards that. But I want to ask you, Tiffany, how do you enrich your life in such a way that you show up at your best every time? How do you do that?
I love it. I love that. Oh, and I'm listening. I'm ready.
Yes, let's talk about it.
I felt I got goosebumps over here. You set it off. It's a lot of those things I talked about, whether I listen to all types of music. So that, and I feel different things through my soul, through music. And everything I do, I give 150% or more.
Love it.
And so it's really pouring into that. You get out what you put in. And so if you don't put into yourself, then you don't get, that enrichment. And it is through giving. It's through watching other people flourish and not being selfish with my time, but balancing that time. I know you don't want to talk about balance, but that really is, you have to be, I'm a person of faith. And so I lean into that fiercely. Some people say, well, why would you do that? Or I've been judged for making certain decisions. I know, because I know. I feel it, no, and I can't explain that to you, but that is how I enrich my life, because I lean into that energy. I lean into that faith. I lean into the God-given talents that I have, and I use those to move me forward. I use those to move other people forward. And that's, for me, that's really enough. Like, I don't need money is not everything for me. Correct. It's about heart for me, and it's about capturing the hearts of these people and organizations.
When you talk about heart, I'm telling you, Tiffany, we're going to do great explore this year. I'm declaring a thing, and it shall come to pass. Do you hear me? But when you talk about the heart, Tiffany, it is so key that people are thinking about the fourth chamber, the two atrium and the ventricles. People, we're not talking about the physical pump. This is not the heart. It is colloquially named, from an anatomical perspective, heart. We're talking about the mind heart, and listen up, as a man or woman think it, so they are. A great book by James Allen, another one of my favorite book in my library. And it's how you're thinking. And so now we're going to transition this and move it over to an HR perspective for my HR people who are listening, your manager, your supervisor, your HR professional. You are basically dealing with people. And when I say HR, yes, it becomes the cliche HR. And what is that? Happy, resourceful? What does that mean?
Human resources, but I bring the happy.
It's like, what is it? What that mean? What the hell roll over? What does that mean? So let's clarify. We're talking about human resources, okay, people?
We're too much energy. They're not ready.
They're not ready. They're not listening. They ain't ready. So we're talking about human resource. And Tiffany, a few months ago, I was doing some studies, and I'm writing this chapter in my new book that's called Create Your Greatest Impact. And we're talking about resource. It's like, what does that mean? So I'm talking to the Lord, right? Yeah, I said, Lord, that's right. We got a creator. We're not dealing with religion. We're talking about a relationship between the created and the creator. That's exactly right, right? And every opportunity I get to give him thanks and give him the credit, hey, I make sure he has it, all right? But I'm sitting there, Tim, and I'm talking about this, source. And then he started telling me that, he is the source. I said, wait a minute. I said, what's a resource now? He said, you are the resource. It's almost like recycling something, right? So the source is the main thing. And if you pull from that main thing, anything that comes from the main thing is a replication of what was already there. So we are resource to the main source. And we are his hands and feet in the earth. And our goal is to make sure people know who is by not putting a label and say, well, I'm a Buddhist, I'm a this, or I'm a that. But no, let your light shine. Your light is your skills, your gift, your expertise. And when you show up in the room, people want to know your name as if you're on the sitcom chairs. Do you hear what I'm saying? So I'm excited about that. Now, how I can see your workshop, I can see your seminars, they are absolutely lit, because when you come into the room, you demand a certain presence. Now, let's give you a scenario. So you come in and a new HR professional having trouble with, sick days. How do I balance the sick days? And some people are taking more sick days than they need to take. And not because they're trying to, get over on the system. It just happened, How do you help that HR professional to not balance, but to allocate? I don't use the word balance because I think it's a juggling act, right? How do we use their skill set to allocate and prioritize what is most important for the growth of the company and the protection of the people? How do you help them to understand that?
Oh my gosh, that is a fantastic one, because that happens all the time. But if we lead with empathy, we lead with, my friend Tiffany just joined me on my hosted series last Friday. And if we lead with compassion, we have to understand that we have to assume positive intent. That's number one. If you come from a place where you're judging, where you're assuming that this person's trying to take money from the company because they're absent, most people don't come into the workplace to do the wrong thing. Most people don't show up in life to do the wrong thing, I believe. And so you have to trust and believe that that person means well, and that something might be going on. So as leaders, we have to understand where that person might be struggling. It is our job, it is incumbent upon us to help support them along the way. As employees, you have the job to show up, to be productive, to collect fully the paycheck that you've earned, but to earn it, because the employer's paying you for a reason. And so when those two worlds come together and there's understanding and compassion on both sides, the desire to do the right thing, which I talk about a lot, when you come from that place, the rest is easy. We just have to come to a place of understanding with each other and really, I see a lot of leaders who think they automatically assume that someone's doing something wrong. Let's ask a curious question. Let's find out what's going on. Let's engage our teams and bring them along, because the work that we do is so important. And people start at an organization for a reason. People get into leadership for a reason. So why not marry the two and make it the best of both worlds? But you got to start with compassion and empathy.
Love it. But you know what? One of the things that I think, and I'm going to get you to explain it to our audience and those who are listening, that there's a difference between compassion and passion, right? I have my own definition of it, right? But what is your definition? How do you, because people say sympathy, empathy is one of those dichotomous words where people are just saying it, but they haven't gotten it. You know what I mean? It sounds good to say. So how do you help the new HR individual, right, who's responsible for professional development and all these things? How do we help them to lead from a compassionate versus passionate? Help them to understand the difference. What's the difference between compassion and passion?
Yeah. So, and as a new HR professional, typically what I'm finding, which is great, we have some more disruptors coming up through the years, and it's great. And that's why I'm hosting the Clubhouse, to help those folks too. But compassion is, you have to have this desire, you have to have an empathy, you have to want to serve people. You hopefully didn't get into HR to not serve people. And of course, we balance the organization too, and supporting employees, but we have to be able to come in with, you can have your own burning passion, and hopefully that's what got you in. But, and that's about you though. What the difference is putting that energy forth. And the compassion is what you're pouring into it. And this is my definition. You don't have to agree with me, but
Talk to me.
To me, it's you take the passion from within, and this is how I do my best work. And I really like push that out. You take what's inside and you give that, you pay it forward. You really seek to understand. You assume positive intent. You ask curious questions, and you help to lead that person along the way. If we're not self-aware and we're not developing, how are you going to help pour into someone else? Because you're not pouring into yourself. Back to what we were talking about before.
Awesome. I absolutely love it. When I think about the compassion, I kind of break it into three, and it's a habit of mine, 1, 2, 3, So when I think about compassion, it's like it's trifold, wherein there is you, me, and we, or you, them, and we. So it's about them first. That's the come part, which comes from the word community. It's a them first, right? But you better be in check, right? So if you work on your self-development, as we've been talking about, then you'll be in place to meet their needs, right? And then when that's all said and done, all the needs that we have are met. So it's a you, them, and we. So the passion comes out when you have basically impressed yourself or done such a good job, basically in your self-growth and personal development. And then when everything is good, then this expression is what we call passion. That's what I call passion. You're expressing what's already been developed on the inside of you. Now, I have been guilty of this when I go out to do talks and stuff like that. And I'll tell people just close their eyes and think about something that they're happy about. And the first thing that comes to their mind, just scream out. And I have a bunch of execs in the room just screaming. It's like, I've never done that before. I feel like I'm just a kid. I said, every now and again, you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, now, what are some trends? And the reason why I'm asking those leading up to it is because I realize there's some trends that are happening in HR. In 2021, what are some trends that you are noticing as an HR professional going into the next couple of months? And what should businesses be concerned about?
Definitely. You talked about managing remote teams. And so we've been dealing with that for coming up on a year now. And so hopefully we're all familiar. And I think leaders are definitely getting more comfortable with managing remotely. We're figuring out how to use technology, how to automate it different ways. And I'm watching a lot of organizations really embrace that technology, embrace the ambiguity and flexibility, where before it was people were more conservative. Even some of your most conservative organizations are starting to think about things differently because they've been forced to. I am watching organizations start to think about now, due to COVID, what is our plan? We didn't have a plan before. How do we continue our business? So I'm starting to work with folks on business continuity and what that looks like, putting strategies in place, not just for the business, but for the people. How do you best support your people, and what are the best programs to implement? And really that engagement piece, the piece that I love, the culture piece too, people are leaning into that more. We can't just throw pizza parties and throw some ice cream with some sprinkles on it and think that that's going to satisfy folks. Correct. And I've been the HR professional where that's been my role. And I'm like, no, this is not it. That's not the answer. It goes deeper than that. And so I'm seeing people listen to their employees and developing them. We talked about professional development before. That piece has become, I'm seeing new programs come into place, and employers really think about how can I leverage the budget and what can we do differently to really pour into our teams. And so that's very important. The other piece is the DEI piece is becoming more common. I'm seeing more consultants being tapped on the shoulder for that. I've been asked several times. Nice. And what I'll say to that is that's fantastic. We need to start having these tough conversations, but we can't just do it if we're going to do it as check the box. It has to be within the fiber of the organization. And I've said that to people. I've said that we're not going to be a match to work together because you want to take a Band-Aid approach. This needs to be within everybody. And so that is a huge trend that we're seeing with organizations really embracing that, from starting to, even a couple of my clients are recrafting, not necessarily their vision, well, their vision, but their mission and vision stays the same to a degree, and their values. but the vision is shifting. So you have, core mission and values, but the vision is shifting. So such that it really serves the people versus the process. And that's been a really fun evolution to watch.
Okay, so you said people versus the process. Now, a light just went off in my head, right? And the reason why that is because I have mentioned the same thing when I went to Orlando to do a talk at Change Management Conference there. There were thousands of people, and they all got their little pen and pad, and they were like, "Tell us." Oh, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna change everything. Tell us. I'm gonna put my eyes back in my head. But anyway, but. But Tiffany, what was happening is that I was telling them something that some didn't want to hear. They were saying, "Oh, well, what is change management?" And a lot of people were putting up stats and all these different things, and they were focused on the product. I said, whoa. And I come out there with this crazy energy. I said, "Stop the music. I'm not MC Hammer, right? But you can't touch this. You can touch this, right?" And so it was like, okay, we got the intro. That was funny, but what's up? I said, "You're dealing with the wrong P." I say, there is this productivity and you're talking about the product, but no one is addressing the people. Yeah. I said, change management is about how you manage people and help them, excite them, get them to buy in so they can get the productivity up, so they can bring out the end result. I said, you got the end result, you got the stat and everything up there, but your people are not in check. I'm sorry, you're not going to have any buy-in, and your productivity will go down, and you won't have anything to show for the time that you did. So when you talk about the people, Tiffany, how do you get HR professional leaders? Now we're going for managers and supervisors. How you get them to see the gifts, so to speak, the diversity that are in their company? How do we ignite that diversity and use it to their best advantage to transform their company?
Ooh, that's a fire question. I love it. Keep me on my toes. I'm loving it. These are the conversations that I want to be heard, that I want to be having, and I love it. When we talk about leadership, like, I will hold feet to the fire, because you have to have that passion. You have to understand that it's not about you. Some people get into leadership because they want to make it about them, and they can assert their authority. Well, maybe there's a little bit of that. But you should want to lead people because you should want to develop them. And that starts with that compassion, that empathy, seeking to understand the individual as an individual on your team, as well as the collective. If you don't know what makes Tiffany tick, how do you know how to best develop her? And if you don't know how I work well within the team and what my strengths are that we can leverage as a powerhouse to build a high-performing team, leverage your one-on-ones, craft time in your meeting agendas to talk about development, to talk about these tough situations that are going on in the world. If you don't ask your employees, you don't get. We have to understand that employees are people. We are human first. And we come into the workplace with the expectation that we're going to be celebrated as our whole selves. And when that doesn't happen, people are disengaged. So that might look like, oh, I'm really busy. The director and frontline manager, the director is scheduling all these meetings, so I'm going to cancel my team's one-on-one. What you've now done is you've disengaged that person. And so you've sent a signal, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that they're not important. They're not as important. They are other than. And particularly, you let your team have a voice. Diversity looks so many different ways. What we shouldn't do is practice tokenism. So I'm Tiffany, the Black woman. Let's have her work on this ERG in the organization, because surely she would like to do that. That may not be where my interests lie. Let's look at diversity of thought, and that means celebrating people's voices, letting their voice be heard. Even if it disagrees with you, leaders, even if it disagrees with you. That is how we learn and grow, and that's how we learn together. That is how we build sustainable cultures and a high-performing team.
I absolutely
love it. And now you're taking me to church.
I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me for the first time, this is Andrew E. Guy on the ILIR-PODCAST. I'm listening. They're ready. We're hanging out. We're conversating with my good friend all the way down there from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's right. Miss Tiffany Castagno. I'm telling you, the conversation is thick. It's rich. I hope you have a big enough hard drive, because she's simply downloading right now. All right. You better be checking this out, you better go find her out there on LinkedIn. She is downloading. I'm telling you, it's happening. Now, I told you that as we go along, then I'll drip a little bit about her, and then I won't give you the big bio so you can be overwhelmed. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about her. I'm going to drip drop some more nuggets right there so you can get it. So now, Tiffany, who is this amazing woman that's disrupting HR? So Tiffany has supported stakeholders in organizations of all sizes and industry throughout the 13 years of her HR career, and she's still wrecking shop. Her why is building more psychologically safe organization and cultures and a stronger leadership to support the people and the process within the organization. I know you want to hear more. Let's get back to Tiffany. I'm telling you, it's happening. Now, Tiffany, how do we ask? How do HR ask the tough questions? You know, the difficult one that they don't really want to hear, you know, and they put it in the suggestion box because they don't want to ask the question. Say, hey, here's a suggestion box. Well, let's just put whatever you want to say in there. And then we'll sift through and decide which one we want to work on, the one that's going to work with the tickling ear. How do HR begin to ask the difficult question within the workplace that is not going to make some people feel alienated, even though some feathers will be, you know, ruffled? You see what I'm saying? But how do they ask the question? Not to demean the individual, but to also ask them in a way where they're inspired and motivated to participate in that collective agreement of that conversation. How do we start the right conversation in HR?
Oh, I love that you brought up the collective, because it is a collective, and it's similar or different mindsets, and it doesn't matter. So I say a lot that we're chucking elephants out of the room. We're not leaving them in the room to sit there and be lingering. You have something to say it respectfully, tactfully, right? But where misunderstandings, miscommunications happen when people don't say or don't feel like they have a psychologically safe space to do that in. And so tough questions are that. And I know as an HR professional, many times over the years, I have had to flex the intestinal fortitude because it gets deep in those waters, and it is tough. I recognize, and it comes, you know, if you're a new HR professional, I'm here to tell you, you are not going to be the popular voice and opinion in the room all the time. And you are often going to be the dissenting voice, and that's okay. We aim to please, but also to grow. And you're not, within that, you're not going to please everyone. We can try. We want to lead with empathy, but it's definitely just calling out poor behavior if you see it. It's leaders supporting their teams, because I've seen people not have their teams back when the wrong thing is being done, when they've spoken up. Hello, I've been on that side of the fence. So definitely leaning into all of those things and making sure that you are unafraid. It's being courageous, it's being bold, and being in an environment that supports that, because that doesn't always happen. So as HR professionals, we're trained to ask those questions. We do a lot of investigations. And so some of these things get sticky, they get icky. Some of the details are graphic, and we have to lean right into that. You cannot shy away from those conversations, because what happens is you disengage folks. They will leave you if you pretend like nothing's happening. And the best leaders who have good hearts and good intention have disengaged teams and seen a lot of turnover because they're afraid to have a conversation, because they didn't follow up. And so have those conversations. And I love a tough conversation. So we grow. Conflict can be healthy. It can be good for us to keep us innovative and to grow as a team, as individuals. So lean right into it. Don't run away. That's the worst.
And you heard it here from Tiffany. She better put the gloves on, but you don't have to jab. You just keep the gloves on. Let the person know we're both in this together, and we're fighting for everyone. As we say in the South, everyone's. All right. So, and you want to everybody, right? And that's you are. As you are. If you're just listening for the first time, is you are. I say everybody. Okay. And so, what I want to encourage your HR people who are listening right now, do not be afraid. That's exactly what Tiffany's saying. You got to ask the difficult question. At the other token of this perspective, you have to be willing to say, I don't have the answer. If you don't have the answer, let it be okay for you to say, can I get back to you in 24 hours with an answer? Because now you won't just alienate that person or disenfranchise that individual. Then that person will like, wow, I just asked a question. I didn't even think they were listening. But yeah, they're listening. And they're ready to give you an answer. It might not be right there, but they will have taken the time out of their schedule to make sure that your concerns are being addressed. And that's a great HR individual. Now, Tiffany, I need 5. I need you to give me 5, uppercut, great stuff, knockout, Mike Tyson type of stuff for the HR person to arm that new HR person, say, you can do this, because they're going in shaky waters right now, right? A great scripture said that, they that go out in the deep shall see the wonders of God, right? And there are a lot of new HR, they're scaling on the shore. They tip their toe in the water, like, ooh, I ain't ready for that yet, right? So, ooh, that's too cold. Remind me of Eddie Murphy Saturday Night Live, ooh, in the water, right? And then,
I can't with you. I love it.
I'm sorry. That just came to me like,
no, hey, never apologize. No. It's all good.
That's James Bond. Hot tub. But anyway, here we go. So, but a lot of HR professionals, the new ones, are doing that. It's like, I don't want to ruffle that person's feather. I know that there's change that needs to be done. I can feel it in my bones. I can feel it. This has to be done. But I want to stay on the shore, because if I stay on the sand, I have some ground that I can stand on. Could you help them understand that they that go out in the deep and ask the difficult question to transform their workplace, to get it to the level that it needs to be? Help them understand. Give me 5 things that they can do, beginning with number 1, asking the difficult question. Tiffany, take it away.
Yes, it is. I will say first, compassion, empathy. I tend to lump those together because you have to have that in order to understand that people are who you serve. So that is number 1, having that and finding that self-awareness within. 2, you have to have grit, and it gets gritty in those waters sometimes. The sand gets all in everywhere. And so you have to be resilient in order to do that. So it's grit, it's resilience, it is change. It's understanding that too many times we hear, this is how we've always done it. Nope, I don't play in those waters well. I like to go in the deep end. Let's explore, let's root cause, let's figure it out so we make the best way in supporting individuals. So definitely change, and within that, becoming a disruptor. And I feel like it's grace. It's grace with yourself, grace with the process and the people, to really understand that there are going to be these shifts, and we have to be able to influence within that. And if you come at it from a place of compassion, when you do have to be the person who's delivering the unpopular news, you are still going to be in that person's grace. I've had people who I've had to be on the end of termination with, who I talk to this day, because I handled it with dignity and treated them as a person and gave them grace.
Wow. So you need one more. We're waiting for one more.
That's Is 4. There one more?
Yes. Also, compassion. Was compassion the first one? Is compassion the first one? All right now. Because I'm gonna rip these back to you now. Okay. All right. Because I want the people to know, because they're listening and they're ready. All right. So I want them to know what's going on up in here. Okay.
Me too. I aim to bring awareness.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited. We're so excited. We're so pumped to bring you this information. I'm telling you, I know we're having a lot of fun, but this is actually training and development. And when I go to do these talks at these corporations and stuff, my talks are fun. People are laughing. They're not this doom and gloom. But when they finish, it's like, wow, that's the most fun I've ever had in a staff development training. I want you to laugh. We're going to laugh about the dumb things that we do in HR and in the corporation and with people and against people. But I want you to change when I leave. I'm not saying go do something different, because that's not what change is, okay? You can change your shoe, but I want you to change, transform by the renewing of your mind, because you've gotten some new information, some new insight that will allow you to better serve people. And that's what we're talking about. Now, I told you I was going to drop some of this goodness about this young lady that we're talking to. So let me give you a little bit more about Tiffany. She is the curator of culture, is passionate about challenging the status quo, and believes that nothing is growing to great if it stays in the same far too long. I'm telling you, that's just a little bit more, but I'm drip dropping everything. But I want you to get to know who Tiffany is from the conversation that we're having, not from a simple bio. And as she unfold, as she drop these nuggets, then you're like, oh my goodness, the bio don't even mean a thing to me. It's the information that she's giving me that's transforming me. So for those of you that just hung on with us for that long, I'm going to drop Tiffany's top 5. All right. So high five, up and out. Boom. That's right. I hope you're ready. So here is the 5 that I want you to take back to your company, to your HR. And this is coming directly from my friend down there, up there. I'm telling you, from Pennsylvania. That's right. Number 1, compassion. You got to have compassion. Lead with compassion. Number 2, it's going to get gritty, so you better have some grit. So you got to be a sandpaper that's going to rub down those rough surfaces, and in the end, it's going to be smooth. But it's going to be rough first. So you better have some grit on your paper, okay? That's number 2. And number 3, you got to be resilient. The weather, the time is going to get muggy out there, and it's going to get mucky, and you're going to feel down at time, but you got to be resilient to weather the storms of the HR industry. You're going to meet some good people, you're going to meet some bad ones, and then you're going to meet some of those other ones. But you have to be resilient. That's number 3. And number 4, change. Change. It doesn't mean do something different. It means transform. Look at what you're doing, ask the difficult question, and go back and re-examine if what you were doing, is it working or is it not working? And if it's not working, find out why, and then make the changes there. You are making basically an informed decision, not just change it because I feel like changing it. All right. And then number 5, you got to have some grace up in here. Okay, you got to lead from a place of grace, wherein that you're letting people still retain their humanity, to let them know I could have been there, I used to be there, and we'll get through this together. Does that sound right, Tiffany? Did it sound like we got it close?
Yes, that's awesome.
I love what we're doing, Tiffany. I love the information that we're giving to the people. But I have a question I want to ask you. How do we move HR teams from the 2020 survival mode into the thrive mindset and set up for corporate team diversity success? How do we move them from surviving to a thrive mindset?
It is that change component. It's understanding that 2020 rocked our world, and we don't have to stay in survival mode. Yes, at first we had to do that. We have to do what we have to do. Now let's move from that. What lessons did you learn? I hope that people are root causing some of the things that were broken, and understanding that some people learn the hard way. I know, because I've had these conversations, that it's not the thing that's broken or the person that's broken, it's the thing. And how are we going to fix the thing? And hopefully you're bringing a shared vision to your teams, and you're allowing them to help co-create these things along the way. Hopefully you've understood that your people are your greatest asset. Mm-hmm. So that is what's going to get us there. It's developing our people, finding new ways to engage them, and being disruptors in your own relative industries to make some change, to stand out from your competitors, to let your team stand out from others as they're moving into other opportunities, and to want to really water those seeds of growth. It's growth. It is definitely growth. We are in a season of growth. I am personally, and I want to help get you there too. So you have to want that as well to move into 2021 with glowing shine.
Are there any challenges that you foresee that's coming up? And I'm not talking about way down in December when Santa Claus decided that the snow is melting in the north, and so he's going to have to hike because, Rudolph said, I ain't pulling this thing anymore, all right? Because I'm the only one with a red nose, right? And the metaphor for that is simply this. It's those people who used to do it a certain way. So the sleigh and the metaphor means that I used to do it this way, and these are what we call the Montel Jordan. This is how we do. Those are the Montel Jordan leaders of the old mindset of cooperation. Now, they're always dependent on Rudolph to lead the sled. The metaphor to that is simply this. They always go into the same individual, not utilizing diversity and the skill set that they have within their workplace. But how do we shift them to understand, listen, Santa, you're going to have to take a jet because Rudolph tired, his 4 legs, they're worn out. Okay, skipping over these snow and stuff like that, over these these clouds. Can we get a jet? You got enough dough. Let's make something happen. And it means when we look at all the skill set that we have within the organization, can we not assemble a new team? And don't you think it's advantageous for them to erect a new team, give them term leadership? And I think you give people time to prove themselves and see if what they're doing is working. And then let's give another group another opportunity by always recycling and always making sure we're picking fresh minds. How do we get rid of the Santa Claus, Rudolph pulling the sleigh every day, 25 years of history, tradition, and move into the 21st century new mindset of growth leadership, where we are reassembling new teams to meet new challenges? How do we do that? How do we get them to understand that?
I love it. It's that self-acknowledgement. You have to first be aware. You have to disrupt and challenge the status quo. You have to be able to manage up, even if you are in leadership, and you have to, make some noise and make some waves in the level up. We cannot be afraid of having tough conversations. We have to come from a place of compassion and empathy and support for the team. And we have to lead people first. But you're not going to be innovative if we don't build innovative teams. How would you expect to compete with the rest of the market out there? They will snatch up your talent in a heartbeat. Trust me, I watch it every week. It happens. And so we have to not stay stuck on that old sled is getting rusty. Right. Let's move it along and get something shiny. And let's celebrate the Rudolphs who are different, who think different, who look different. We can't always have it the way it was. The way it was does not propel us forward. And so I love that you asked that question, because we have to embrace change. It is our friend, and it's the way that we grow.
Do you think disruption is hard? Because I'm a disruptor. When I come into your workplace and I'm giving a presentation, I'm going to give an introduction on a slide, but do not expect me to be standing in front of you and just say, well, this is how we do it. Montel and Jordan, and that's right. That's exactly it. And I said, you're not going to Montel Jordan your way. And Montel's a great singer, by the way. So I don't want you to think, Montel, if you listen to this and if you're hearing this, all right, I know we're ready. But we're not saying anything bad. I love your song. I use it for a workout every time when I'm doing my cardio. So, man, this is how I do it. Okay. So love your work, but I'm referencing it because it serves a purpose now. But the point I'm trying to get, Tiffany, is to really get our HR to understand that change is not a myth. It's not something we're just vocalizing. It's a happening. And if the body is changing, I come from an anatomy and physiology background. I said, if the body is constantly changing every single day, new skin cells are being regenerated every single day. What about our approach to solving new problems? The problems that we had 20 years ago is not going to be the one we have today. And you hit the nail on the head. It is the processes that are faulty. And if the processes are faulty, then the results and the products will also be faulty. We can't do the same and expect different, right? Yeah. And I absolutely love what you're saying. Now, Tiffany, we come to the part in a show. It's called Think, Fire, Shoot. Think, Fire, Shoot. And it's where we ask our guests, because they're so knowledgeable of what they do. They're experts in their own kind, in their own field. And we ask them 4 questions. And we only give them 1 minute to answer these 4 questions. Each question, Tiffany, I will have you know, it's only 15 seconds. I'll have my phone right next here with a Z clock. You hear me? With a Z clock. You got 15 seconds to answer. It's called Think, Fire, Shoot. And we're trying to give our audience and those who are tuned in enough nuggets within 15 seconds to let people know you got the stuff. And by the time they finish listening to the interview, they need to come and look you up because you've got the goods. You understand? So Think, Fire, Shoot. I have the dial. I turn up the stove every now and again. It gets very hot based on the question. All right. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm trying to keep it real now. Okay. So we're going to get ready. And how we start this section is, now I will read a little bit from your bio, and then you're going to come in and you're going to tell them your name. My name is so and so and so. And if you have a new program coming up or anything like that, if you have a website that you want them to go, I want you to tell them that right there. So now that right there is branded. That's your name. That's what you do. This is how you find me. And I'm about to do it up on Think, Fire, Shoot. That's how it works. You got that right there? Mm-hmm. You got to pray for me, woman. All right.
Hey, I might have to pray for me right now.
No, you got this. You got this. You got this. You are the disruptor of HR. When you show up, people know it's happening. All right. So it's time for a Think Fire Shoot. All right. We ready?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm ready.
I heard that. I heard that, sister. All right, here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. That's right. It is time for the special moment of Think, Fire, and Shoot. That's right. And it is the moment in our show when we put our best guest on the hot seat. I got the dial over here and I turn up the stove as much as I want based on the question that I'm going to ask. And the question could be a word, it could be a phrase, or it can be a series of words. And they got to think this through and they get 15 seconds. That's it. It's a 1-minute challenge, 15-second. 4 questions, and they got to rock this out. And the purpose of this is to help you to see how skillful they are, help you to understand how they think. They think fast on their feet, that if you call them and you want consultation, they're able to help you weed out, take your big problems, cut it up, and make it manageable. So that's the purpose of this, is to highlight their gifts, their speciality, and how they can best help you. And basically, it's just a lot of fun. That's just how we roll, so that's what that's about. So on Think Fire Shoot, we have our good friend all the way down there from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Miss Tiffany Castagno. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Castagno.
No, you say, because that when you say it, it just sounds right.
I say it Castagno.
Say again?
Castagno is the pronunciation.
Castagno. It sounds almost Italian, though.
It is Italian.
It is? So you
yes.
Have Italian background?
My husband.
Your husband is, okay. Please apologize to him for me in advance. Let him know.
We get it all the time.
Tell him that Jamaican guy done messed up your name, right? And not having any more ackee and saltfish and roast breadfruit, because this man messed up your name, all right? In disrespect my name.
Oh, it's all good.
All right. You just tell him I say buongiorno, come stai, right? Bene, bene, right? I'm learning Italian too, as a matter of fact. So I just bought a book a month ago. So I'm working on it. All right, here we go. So here we go. So ladies and gentlemen, we're hanging out with Miss Tiffany, and I'm telling you, it's time for Think Fire Shoot. Now, who is Miss Tiffany? And Tiffany is all about growth. She is cultivating the evolution of HR. She's disrupting everything. She got a new project that she's working on. She's co-hosting Let's Talk HR Clubhouse, all right? So I need you to get out there. I need you to go check her out. She's an HR disruptor, a curator of cultures who supports small and mid-sized businesses and founders to do what? To build strong infrastructures, brands, teams, and cultures towards growth. That's who she is. So ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Miss Tiffany. Tiffany, tell them a little bit about you, and then we're going to get ready for Think Fire Shoot. Tell them.
Yes. So I am based in Pittsburgh here at CEPHR, which, as Andrew said, is cultivating the evolution of professional HR. I can be reached at www.CEPHRconsulting.com or tcastagno@CEPHRconsulting.com. As he said, you can find me on Clubhouse Saturdays at 2 EST. Let's talk HR, all things HR. And you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there as well. So I look forward to having some conversations.
All right. Okay, we're getting ready for Think Fire Shoot. All right, Tiffany, the first question. The first question is really a quote. It's coming up in my new book called Creating Your Greatest Impact. And it's very, it's one of those philosophical ones that kind of, either leave a good taste in your mouth or a bad taste, but it's going to cause you to think. But it's one of those ones that really calls for change. And here's what it says. It says, on the highway of life, many people spend their time looking in the rear view mirror. Instead of on the highway of living, they should be focusing on the windshield. Many people on the highway of life spend their time focusing on the rear view mirror. Instead of on the highway of living, should be looking in the windshield. What says she? Ready? Go.
She says, don't look back. You're not going that way. Look to the path ahead. That is what is going to grow you. So don't look in the rear view. It's safe, but that's not where we're going to grow.
Woo! 11.67 seconds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, she's cooking. She's cooking. We got to turn up the stove. Do you hear me? What's cooking? All right. Dwayne The Rock Johnson said, do you smell what The Rock is cooking? That's right. We're cooking dumplings and ackee and sawfish and curry goat and them things there. All right, are we ready? Question number two.
Can't say no to that.
Question number two. Question number two. All right. Define success. Go.
Success is what you make it. It is what are you doing to create and what are you doing to use the tools that you have, your God-given talents. You go out and create it, not what everybody else wants. Success is using it and being growth-minded.
12.64 seconds. Woo! She went up a little bit on the second time, but you know, it was all good. It was all below the 15, as they say in the South. 15. Okay, for the people up north, it's 15. 15. Question number three, ladies and gentlemen. Question number three. Tiffany, here's the question. It says setbacks, disappointment, set up, come back. Who cares? Go.
Wow. So our setbacks do sometimes lead to disappointments, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about it. It means that we can fail and we can still have success. We can still celebrate ourselves, and we need to embrace all that and those learnings to move forward and to be successful.
14.78. Oh, I think you was close.
Oh,
you were close. Woo, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you.
Where's the fan?
All right, this is the last one. This is the last one right here. It's the last one right here. If you were to give all of our viewers, plus your clients, everyone in totality, one advice for 2021, will help them to forget about the failures that happened in 2020 and the years before. What would your one advice be? And it could be a word, it could be a statement. It's just going to be something that grabs them in the collar and said, look here, ready, go.
Be agile, be fierce, embrace and lean into the challenges and celebrate what is coming your way. Own your space, be confident, love yourself, love people, and build community to support each other.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, that there, my good friend. Oh yeah, she didn't go over. She was right within the limits. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to give it up for my good friend, Miss Tiffany. Tiffany is tearing up. She has downloaded. I'm talking, if you didn't have a big enough hard drive, you need to get rid of that MB and get a terabyte. You need to get out there and get a bigger hard drive because the information that she threw down today, if you missed it, I'm sorry. You better save. There's a good saying that says, Jesus save. And if you didn't save, you missed it. All right? Back that up on your hard drive and save it. I'm so excited. Tiffany, thank you for coming out. I mean, this was time well spent. This was good stuff. That was the good stuff.
Yeah, this has been amazing.
I'm telling you, Tiffany, this is how we roll on the ILIR podcast. And listen, as always, I always give the guest the last word, all right? Because many people are busy trying to finish off. I want to give you the last word. And for everyone that tuned in today, listen, I just want to leave some comments in the box when you see this stuff. And how can you get in touch with Tiffany? If you need to get in touch, she's going to give you that information right now. I need you to find her on LinkedIn. I need you to get out there and get this information that she has because she can help you. That's exactly right. She's talking about growth. If you feel like, you're in a time of the stagnation and you're not moving and the waters are just kind of murky, the water basically is your company not moving forward and not doing what it's supposed to do. If you feel that's what you're experiencing, I would really, really encourage you to go check out every and anything that Tiffany is doing because this young lady has got stuff. All right. So Tiffany, I'm going to put you up on the full screen right now. I'm just going to let you have the final word. Here we go. Go.
Thank you for having me today, Andrew. And I will echo what he said. Come find me. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on Clubhouse. That's the place to be. So get your invites ready and go ask a friend for one. I might have a few coming up here soon, but definitely come find me on LinkedIn. I am adding value there every single day and sharing HR tips, letting you get a peek into who I am too as a person. And I love building community and being there with you. You can find me there. You can also send me an email email at Castagno, that's Castagno, at CEPHRconsulting.com, and I would love to hear from you. And if you feel so inclined on a Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. EST, come on through for some HR talk. This will benefit leaders, employees, HR professionals, whoever wants to hear some different ways of shaking things up and how you can lead with that empathy. You can find me over there on Saturdays at Clubhouse, and I'll look forward to seeing you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we got for this week at this moment of the ILIR podcast. It's Andrew E. Guy in the MORNING, hanging out with my good friend down there, Tiffany Castagno. I said it, that's right. All right, it was fun. It was great. Tiffany, thank you so much for hanging out with us and the crew. Take care of yourself and have yourself a fantastic day. Until then, take care.
Until next time.
This is Andrew E. Guy. Have yourself a fantastic day, a fantastic week, a fantastic months, and a fantastic year. Until then, take care. Peace.
Until next time, keep listening, live ready, talk soon.